So, continuing with this 12 bolt build, I have the pinion and carrier in. I got the cover on it for now, just keeps dust out. But I'm going ahead with putting in the new wheel bearings and seals. Basically, you buy a new set, and if you look at them real close, it's tough to see. But one of these edges has a higher or a bigger curve fillet on the edge than the other, so the more square side will go on the inside edge of your axle. So first thing is to notice that. For me, it's the side with the writing on it. This is a National bearing, but basically you get it started or close to it. And now if you have a bearing pounder, these actually work pretty good. They conveniently have a size that's just right spot on, just a little bit smaller than the outside diameter, but it's got to be hitting on the full surface all the way around right there. So go ahead and pound that in. You pound it until you hit the stop on the back side, and then you come back in and put the seal on. So if you're wondering how far in you have to pound the bearing here, like I said, you go until you hit the back. Well, if you want to know how you know that you're all the way in, when you're pounding, there's a noticeable difference in the sound. That's the best way to describe it. When the bearing hits on the back side, it's a lot louder. It's a lot more vibration that you hear because you're not getting any movement. It's all vibrating back at you. So that's when you know that you're all the way in. It's pretty self-explanatory. Next is to put the seal on. Some people I know will put a sealant on the outside of these wheel seals. I've never had them leak on the outside. Whenever I have them leak, it's always on the inside rubber seal, so I haven't ever worried about it. But that's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to put it in bare like this and see what happens. Okay, here's the wheel seal fully installed now. Same thing, use my bearing installer or race installer. I pounded it in. You can see a little bit of that red paint. I'm sure that's some sort of a sealer type paint, but pound it all the way in until you hit the stop, and it kind of looks like you're gonna hit before you install it, but you see the bearing right there and the inside edge of the seal right there. It's all clear, so there's enough room. You can pound it all the way in until you hit the stop, and you should be fine there. Now that we've got the wheel seals and bearings put in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the axles in, and they need to go. So I guess first step is you put it in on the outside here, but I need to take the cover off of the center section there, and I also need to take the pin out of the center section to put the C-clips on. But while I'm here, what we looked at before for where was this the bearing race and where the seal rides at, right here. And just because we have a new seal here, what I do is you take gear oil and put it on the seal here, get it wet with the oil all the way around. It's just better for the bearing, or the seal, sorry, so that it doesn't get stuck on that fresh, clean surface. So I had these sitting, uncovered. They're kind of too big to cover, so took just a towel and wiped them down real quick. And so here we go. I'll put them in on either side, and then I'll go to the center section and work about getting that centerpiece taken apart so that I can get the C-clips put in. Alright, so to get my my axles put back in here, so I came back to my center section, and there's a bolt that was right here. It had a 5/16 head on it, a lot of thread locker, so it was actually really tough to get off. But then there's this pin here, this cross pin that I already took out, but that just slides out nice and easy. And once you get that out, you come into the center here, and there's nothing holding the axle from coming all the way in, like that. And so then, with these C-clip axles, you just come, and this is the old C-clip that I already had. I didn't get a new one that came with the kit, but it'll be fine. And so basically, you just put this C-clip right onto the axle, and then when you pull it tight, it can't pull back anymore. Like that. Let's see. Now I got my axle pulled back tight, so that C-clip is going to hold the axle from pulling out this way, and once I get that pin back in, that's going to hold the axle from pushing it in. So I just need to do that to the other axle here, and I got the axles installed. So now that I got everything installed here, I got my axles in and everything, so basically that puts me at the stage where I just need to put the cover on, and I'm going to actually go ahead and just clean this up a little bit better, shoot with some black paint, just to get some color, because I did sandblast the rust off of it. So after that, I'll be just throwing the brakes on. I already have a video out of that, so next video with this 12-bolt build will actually be, I hope, is when I'm putting it into the car this weekend here. So that should be the next thing, 10-bolt to 12-bolt swap. So now they got the 12-bolt put together, that'll be the next thing you're seeing. So